Welcome to week 2 of the Sacred Leadership Program. Now, in line with the name of this program, in line with the name of this program, I feel that it's important that I share a little bit of what I'm experiencing right now. So firstly, it's the first time I'm doing this as a Zoom call that I'm live streaming through YouTube in this way. I want to do more of this. And secondly, today I had a plan to create a lesson for some people, and the people who signed up for the program did not show up. Now, some people that came for the first session, and some of them decided not to come for the first one and the second one. And part of me was like, okay, maybe I should just cancel and just call it off. But then I looked at the slides I prepared, and then I looked into what I was going to share. And it's very ironic because, like, one of the things about sacred leadership is like you become a leader to lead yourself, and people follow that because it's in a direction that they want to be going. Like, you don't force people to become your leader. Like, you don't try to force your leadership onto people. And I feel that this is a great learning lesson for me, and it's a great moment for me to share this as well before I get into the actual meat of what I want to share today. So firstly, just wanted to get that off and share that. And secondly, to let you know that I'm going to be recording a lot more. I'm going to be sharing a lot more content. Um, I feel that the more authentic, the more raw that I can get with my sharings, the more genuine it can be perceived for others. And starting with the program that I'm going to be creating from this, it's a program on self-leadership. It's a program on learning how to become your own leader. And I feel like this is the core of it. Now, the thing that I want to share with my own experience is that for many years, I felt like I was a slave to other circumstances. I was a slave to my habits and patterns. I was a slave to other people who had like control over my life. And I didn't feel that I had like any kind of real say in the direction of my life. I felt like I was on a train that was already going to a destination, and I had like no chance of changing it or moving it to a certain other place. And looking at where I am today and where I was when I'm sharing this, it's almost like trying to describe two completely different people's experience of life. And one of the reasons why it's so important for me to share what I want to share over the next few months, over the next few weeks, years, decades, whatever, is because I feel like becoming a person who goes through life experiences, learns from the lessons, and then shares them for other people to not have to go through the same like experience of life. It kind of describes the role of like the elder in the community. Like if we look at tribal communities, the wise elder man who just sits there with his gray beard and he talks about which paths to go down and they come to him for like the advice. I feel for me that's always been a archetype that I connected with, an archetype that I could see myself as. And if I look at like just from childhood, the one that sticks out is like if you remember like the movie The Lion King, there was that monkey, that baboon that was like he would go to him for like the advice. And I did feel some kind of connection towards that role in society and in life. The problem was I didn't experience enough to have any wisdom to share. And over the last few years, what I've realized is that connecting with my own journey, my own experience, like, and really embodying the sacred leader within helps me to be in a situation where I can create an event and then nobody shows up and I feel okay to just go ahead with it myself. A part of me is my ego is a little bit hurt because I'm like, yeah, I wanted 8 people to show up. I had 8 people sign up. And then the first day I had like a couple, half of them didn't show up. And then the second time, nobody shows up. But then I need to look back at myself and be like, okay, did I embody the leader throughout this process to the point where they're like, oh my God, I have to be there? And am I really taking these people in a direction that they need to go on? And I feel like these are true questions that a leader should ask themselves in these moments of crisis. And it's not like a crisis in life, but it's like it's a great opportunity for me to share this process with you and for you to witness in terms of your own journey within leadership. Where are the lessons? Because a lot of people just feel like sharing their wins, and this is me for sure. Like when I go to social media, when I go on Instagram, all I do is show the highlights, I show all the events, I show like how things are going well. And right now, I'm at a turning point in my online business and career where I feel that YouTube is the direction I want to go into. I'm done with like trying to create short form content and like try to appease these people who have ADHD and TikTok brain. Like I don't want to create content for them anymore. So for that reason, I'm going to be sharing a lot more of my experiences and wisdom through YouTube and also challenges and struggles. Because I feel like today, this challenge that I'm sharing is going to be something that I'm going to look back at like 5 months down the line and just laugh at it and be like, oh, yeah, remember that first live stream you did, which was supposed to be with like 8 people and you did it yourself just because like, I remember that. But anyways, every Friday, 1 o'clock, I'm gonna do this live stream. If nobody shows up to the call, then nobody shows up to the call. If I have 8 people, then I have 8 people. At the end of the day, I just want 8 people to be on this call tomorrow so we can have a bit of a discussion about leadership and let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to go into was the archetypes of the leader. Like, who is the embodiment of a leader within our society and what we know. And for me, there were a couple of different archetypes that stood out. The first one I mentioned a little bit was kind of going back to tribal times. And we think of like the tribe leader. What are the qualities that a tribe leader needs to have? And why is it important for our genetic DNA to have evolved into a way where we recognize those as valuable? And I feel like the most important thing is actually selflessness. It's not putting yourself above everyone else. And this kind of goes counter to the way we perceive leadership in today's day and age. Because to us, we see the leaders as the politicians, and these are the people who kind of put themselves above others. It's all about their vision and what they want to do and how they can manipulate you to get your votes as opposed to putting yourself and others first. And I feel like there's a big incongruence between what we know to be a leader and what we're seeing today as leadership. And because of this like massive difference in what we're seeing, it's it's getting us to a point where we view the word leadership as like this kind of dirty word. It's like I don't want to be a leader. That means leading equals to manipulation. Being a leader means that you're like taking people to a direction they don't want to go. You're like infringing on their like free will. And then the next like archetype that we all experience is the parent, the father, the mother. and it goes beyond like the physical form of the humans that we know as parents. It's like the parent that birthed us into this universe, like the mother earth, the father sky. It's like the whole universe. It's this thing that gave birth to us. And I feel that we kind of need to follow and offer and give something to this parent archetype. Um, I think a lot of us go through lives like trying to please this archetype, trying to please the parent, and we never fully are able to do that because the parent we're trying to please isn't this physical version of your mother or your father. It's like the grand expression of parent, which is like the earth. It's your existence, your consciousness. And I feel that the more we can embody our own parent within ourselves, like we don't need that acceptance or validation or anything from the physical beings that we call parents, the more we can actually step into this embodied leadership. And I feel that there's different archetypes that I'm touching on here. The the key thing that I want to mention between all of these is that you'll notice that within all of them, we have like similarities and differences, but there's like a constant throughout it. And the question is, what is that constant that even through like the tribe leader, the parent, the politician, the teacher, the master, like what is it that we identify and create a connection to say that this is a leader and this is not? Like we would not classify like a baby as a leader, for example, like the traits of a baby, although maybe it should be, but it's like we don't classify the traits of a baby as a leader because they don't have that same quality. And the purpose of this discussion, this conversation, is to really distill and understand what it means to have this sacred self leadership, to know within yourself when we are going in a direction in line with our truth. And one of the things we discussed in the first lesson, which I want to bring up today, is the idea of the inner compass, the idea that we have this internal system which allows us to navigate life. And a lot of us are disconnected from this inner compass. We don't have like any kind of knowledge or wisdom of where it is we're going. It's like we're so used to using Google Maps